Check this out. There's a saying that goes, you never really know a man's true character until you put him in a situation that could change his life's trajectory. That's not a real saying, but nonetheless, Tszyu showed his true character in the lead up to this fight. And sometimes your character may lead you to doing things that you probably shouldn't. Tszyu considers himself a throwback fighter. He's willing to fight anyone, no matter who they may be. On 12 days' notice, he accepted Sebastian Fundora to be his replacement opponent after Keith Thurman went down with an injury. Then during the fight itself, Tszyu in his corner, they went on to fight a full 12-round fight after Tszyu suffered from a nasty cut near his hairline, causing the blood from the cut to impair his vision for the remainder of the fight. Also stated in the prediction vid that this was a trap fight. Days before the actual bout, it was reported that Tszyu's team was in negotiations with Terrence Crawford's camp. Did this play any factor into his preparation? All in all, one would have to ask, was it worth it? The damage taken, the loss of his zero, and the loss of his world title. So let's get into the actual fight. After watching the first 2 rounds of this fight, I thought Tszyu had a solid chance of getting an early stoppage as he was off to a fast start, which isn't normal for him. He landed some big shots on Fundora, leaving him a bloody mess with a broken nose at the end of 2. Now, despite all of this, the issue I saw with Tszyu was that it took a lot of energy for him to get his punches off and to land. The cut after round 2 made matters worse because now he had to deal with the blood coming into his eyes, and also he had difficulty landing an effective shot without losing the points earned because Fundora's jab was on all night. Something that he normally doesn't do, but I guess when you have a 9-inch height advantage, you might as well make use of your upper hand. After 4 rounds, I had the fight scored 2-2. Tszyu then went on to have 2 solid bounce back rounds, but after that, Fundora dominated the rest of this fight. And it was all because of his activity. Whenever Tszyu would land a big punch, Fundora would erase the point scored by landing 4 or 5 punches of his own, and that was causing him to win most of the exchanges. Now, Fundora didn't land the hard punches, but I'll take 100 mid to light punches landed over 20 hard punches. I mean, who wouldn't? It's better optics, and it gains favor with the judges, at least 2 of them, as Fundora went on to win by split decision. I scored the fight 7-5 in favor of Fundora. Now, for fighter performances, Tszyu is graded a C-. Those first 2 rounds set the tone perfectly for what seemed to be a one-sided ass whooping. But a few issues came into play. The first issue was the cut. It put Tszyu in a situation where he either had to go for the KO or fight with caution. The choice chosen was the latter, and it costed him pivotal rounds. His next issue was his conditioning. Now, Tszyu is a fighter who likes to pace himself and break an opponent down over the course of a fight, and that's mostly due to his lack of elite level conditioning. To land on a fighter like Fundora, Tszyu had to exert a lot of energy, and after the punch was thrown, it kept him in range to get countered by a 1-2 or an uppercut. Now, the final issue is the fight strategy that Tszyu and his team came up with. Even though I had Tszyu winning by stoppage heading into this fight, I also made it known that if he made this a boxing match, that he would lose. Trying to outbox a guy who has a 10-inch reach advantage over you is madness. And it allowed Fundora to settle into his game plan. For Tszyu to win this fight, he needed to get in close and make it rough for Fundora. landing body shot combinations, breaking down the bigger man over the course of the fight, but for some reason the game plan was to box from the outside and then exchange in the pocket. Sebastian Fundora's grade is a C+. His team crafted up a simple yet effective game plan for him, and he executed it perfectly. He kept jabbing, stayed active, and landed timely counters. Now, Fundora's main issues are distance control and lack of craft. There should be no reason why Tszyu was landing enough crosses and hooks to have Fundora looking like a Walking Dead extra. Nonetheless, though, he stuck to the plan and he didn't get baited into a firefight. Now, the overall fight grade, I gave this 3 stars out of 5. The best round of this fight was the 10th. I mean, the action in this fight, it was decent, but it wasn't really nothing to lose sleep over. So what's next for both of these fighters? Well, after a 7-month medical suspension, these two are apparently in talks for a rematch in November, which I'm glad because Tszyu didn't have to take this fight on 12 days notice, nor did he have to continue to fight after the cut he received in the second round. So a rematch seems like the honorable thing to do, unlike Errol Spence Jr., who tried to dirty Mac his way into a fight with Fundora during his interview, which right now I got some cooking up on Errol Spence, so stay tuned for that. As far as the rematch goes, verbal agreements in boxing is like Midwest weather. It always changes. So with reports of Tszyu wanting the fight to happen in Australia and Fundora's team rejecting the notion, the chances of this rematch actually happen are slim to none. At least as of today. But congratulations to Sebastian Fundora on winning his first world titles. Peace.